Hello, welcome Leonard, and welcome to Birmingham here in the UK.
Thank you.
Leonard's from the Tuck School of Business Management and is here to work with MSD UK and Aston University on the new programme. Could you tell us a little bit more about your role working between those two different organisations?
Yes, the Tuck School of Business has been committed to minority business education since 1980. And I taught in the inaugural program because I had previously worked with minorities in the United States. So they enrolled me in helping out with that. And I eventually became the director of that program. And then we expanded it out we were just dealing with minorities, but we expanded it so that we would also take into account women entrepreneurs who used to be discriminated against in the United States, and the Native Americans, who are Aboriginal people, and the handicapped, disabled people, and veterans, and the LGBTQ community. But what we hadn't done is expanded internationally to say we've got 38 years of continuous improvement with this population group, but we're only doing it in the United States. And the European countries also have the same set of issues. Canada has the same set of issues. So the work with Mayank Shah at MSD UK is how do we bring everything we've learned into the European context, and how do we make it successful for other people to take what we've learned rather than doing it by trial and error over years, say, here's what works, here's what doesn't work. How can we help you be successful in transforming the lives and fortunes of minorities in the European and South African communities, which is who we had in this program.
And often academia and business are sort of described as not being able to work together too well sometimes. Maybe that's a problem that we often face. But how is it that you are looking to work with business organisations such as MSD UK? What is it that you can bring from the academic side of things into proactive day-to-day business strategy?
There's a big difference between academia and business in general. But don't forget, we're in a business school, and our bread and butter is understanding what goes on in global corporations. And I was formerly in corporations. I used to be a purchasing manager. I was a consultant to various corporations. So it's not academic versus corporations. When you're in a business school, it's taking people who've had corporate lives, who've worked in the business sector, and saying if they have potential for teaching and research, those are the people we want to have as faculty members. So there's actually less tension when you get to business schools than you would have, say, in a liberal arts program or something like that, where we're seen as the ivory tower. And all my faculty members, the people I use, have all had direct business experience. If they haven't had business experience, there's no point in me trying to sell them to practitioners to say, these people have never sat in your shoes. They don't actually know what they're talking about. They have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but no practical knowledge. So I can only use people to teach who've had that practical experience as entrepreneurs in big corporations, wherever it is. And after that, they went into academia. So we're not experiencing that tension.
And this is exactly the kind of bridging you're trying to do with Aston University and MSD UK and so many of the delegates here. How's that, you've only been working here in this for a brief period of time, I understand, but how is the relationship looking to evolve over the next year, 3 years?
Well, this was an experimental program that Mayank Shah has been to our programs in the United States, and he said there is something of value here that is needed in the European context. So he asked me would I come over and start the program, and it's worked wonderfully so far, but I'm not sure that's what your question was.
My question is, where is it going to go, sort of?
Where's it going to go from here? Forgive me, I got lost on that thing. And it's nice you can edit videotapes. That's great. So where it's going to go from here is that MSD UK has a convention every 2 years. And we were talking about, at the front end of the convention, why not have a 3-day program for high potential business owners, where we teach them what are the management things that screw you up in terms of your growth trajectory. You can deliver a service, you can manufacture a product, but you may not know how to manage cash flows. You may not know how to come up with a marketing process. You may not have looked at your operations the way very large corporations do. You may not have thought, how do you actually manage people rather than doing tasks? And that's what holds people back. So if we do that on the front end of every program, then the MSD UK has a richer offering to its client base, which is people who are running business and trying to make a living and trying to create wealth in their own minority communities and to create jobs and to create career paths. And I support that personally because that's what I've been trying to do in the United States. And I have a personal loyalty to the UK because I was brought up in Manchester. I lived there for 16 years before emigrating to the United States. So this is kind of my home country.
Finally, if I could ask you, do you think entrepreneurs are born, are they made, or is there a blend there somewhere between the two?
There's a blend. And what we know is that you need certain personality characteristics to be an entrepreneur, rather than somebody who works in a government agency or a large corporation, where you can depend on that 9-to-5 job, the paycheck every couple of weeks. You have a job description. An entrepreneur is a different personality. It's somebody who has a very high need for control, wants to do it himself or herself. It's somebody who is comfortable with taking risks. And it's somebody who is a very hard worker, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's 24/7, 365. You're always thinking about your business. So somebody who doesn't want to work that hard or be a slave to their own company is going to go into corporations. So 1 out of every 9 people has the appropriate personality to be an entrepreneur. It's slightly higher for migrants into the country. It's about 1 in 8 and that's why you see a tremendous difference between startups from immigrants versus startups from people who've been in the country for generations. Immigrants are much better at doing the business. So you've got to start with the personality. If you don't have the personality, entrepreneurship is not for you. If you do have the personality, you know how to do a task, but you don't know how to run the organization. And there's a 95% failure rate in the first 5 years of companies starting up. Entrepreneurs thinking, I got this great idea. Where they go wrong is not about delivering a service, doing the task, manufacturing a product. It's always in cash flow, personnel problems, lack of marketing strategy, not understanding their own processes. And that's where they go wrong. That's where in 3 days we can teach them everything they wish they knew that screws people up.
Well, it's great to have you with us. I'm sure you'll agree there's plenty of the personalities in the room outside here that are the right personalities.
Yes.
So with your input, MSD's input, us university's input, I'm sure we can take them all on to the next level.
And that is my pleasure to be a part of. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.